If you haven't released a demo on Steam before, the idea can seem daunting, but it doesn't need to be. I recently released the demo for my silly puzzle adventure cat game, Brave as Coconut. If you haven't already given it a go, then pause this video and go check it out. If you have tried it out and like the game, then add a demo review. Every little bit helps tell Steam to show the game to more people. And in the current video game climate, I can use all the help I can get. Okay, let's talk about the journey to releasing a demo on Steam. A while back, I got accepted into the Miigwa 2025 Steam Festival and wanted to have a playable demo for the event. The Miigwa 2025 festival was kicking off at the start of October, so I had until then to get the demo ready, minus a couple of weeks to playtest. I already had a playable mini demo that I'd been using to showcase at physical exhibitions, so I had a bunch of the pieces already done. That mini demo was designed to only run for about 10 minutes, but for the proper Steam demo, I wanted a playtime of around 30 to 40 minutes. The mini demo also kind of existed outside of the actual game. It had its own little story about how Coco was trying to get to whatever physical event I was showing at, and so you had to solve the puzzles in order to unblock the way there. For the real demo, I wanted to use the actual start of the full game, so that meant building a new world map. Thankfully, on account of how my location manager system works, it was relatively easy to create all of the new areas and hook up all of the cross-scene transitions. If you're a patron of mine, the latest location manager code is available on my Patreon. If you're not a patron, then join today for access to that, as well as a bunch of other handy code snippets. I borrowed some of the puzzles from my mini demo for the full demo, but I also needed to rework them a bit and add some more. To help map them all out, I used my Puzzle Dependencies add-on that I made a while ago. I've blurred it here so I don't give anything away. I always like seeing the puzzle map like this because I get a good sense of the depth and breadth of the puzzle tree at any given stage. The next bit was adding in all of the new dialogue, but thankfully I know of a great dialogue manager plugin for Godot that made this super easy. Once I had the story bit playable from start to finish, I added a speedrun mode that unlocks after the first playthrough. This mode disables autosaving and adds an on-screen clock. There's a few bits in the demo where you can do things in any order, so I'm not actually sure which way is fastest. I'd love to see people's best times. Then, with the demo in a playable state, I asked some friends and family to test it out. That first build had a bunch of problems, so I fixed them up and enlisted some more friends and family to test and maybe retest a new build. This process went on for a few iterations until I was happy that there shouldn't be any game-breaking bugs. Silly bugs I'm fine with, but game-breaking ones are always bad. I added all the playtesters to the game credits, so definitely go check that out. The last part was kind of optional, but it's something I was looking forward to. Recently, I'd bought a copy of FL Studio, so I'd been wanting to port my music over to it. Previously, I'd been using BandLab, but despite being free, it had some shortcomings that were becoming too much and outweighing the allure of the price tag. I only really had 3 tracks to resequence, so it wasn't a huge task, and FL Studio is fun to use. I wanted to add a new track for the caves, but I think I'll leave that for later. Then came the part I was a little worried about, uploading to Steam. There's a lot of terminology that gets thrown around when talking about uploading to Steam. Depots, branches, builds, packages. So I watched a couple of tutorials on YouTube, and a big thank you to Auradev, whose video I'll link to in the description. Like most things, I was imagining the process to be harder than it actually was. Once I'd done it the first time, it all made perfect sense. Thankfully, I had each of a PC, a Mac, and a Linux machine to test the installation of each depot because I missed a setting at first that meant that both Mac and Linux didn't download any files. With that fixed up, I then submitted the demo page and the build to Steam for approval. A few days later, the build was approved, but my page was missing an asset somehow, so I fixed that and then it was approved. I was ready for the demo to be released. There was a few days before I had to click the big green button, so I thought I'd update my teaser trailer with some of the new content. A critique of the old teaser was that it didn't really communicate what the game was, so I reworked the narrative a bit to make that more obvious. Okay, with the build approved, the demo Steam page approved, and the teaser updated, it was now time to press the big green button. And that was it. The demo was live. The Miigwa Steam event started the next day, and I'd like to thank the organisers for helping iron out a small issue where a few of the games were missing from the Has Demo carousel. It was cool to see Brave as Coconut show up in an actual Steam event next to some other pretty great games. I'm not sure how long I'll leave the demo up on Steam, so definitely go check it out as soon as you can. And now, before I get back to building the rest of the game, I'd like to thank this month's patrons. That's all from me for now. Bye.